Hey everyone, I'm here with Lauren, and Lauren is going to take us through December's astrology. Lauren and I have been laughing because, gosh, it has been intense.
Outer Spirit is a jewelry company that reached out to me recently, and they asked me to review some of their beautiful bracelets. I was to choose 3 of them, so I chose amethyst for peace and protection. I also use it for anxiety because I get severe anxiety sometimes. I chose black tourmaline for protection because we all need a little bit of extra protection these days, and I chose green jade for abundance. It's something I need to accept more of. This all was done underneath Mercury retrograde, so there was some challenges in the shipping. I finally received these bracelets, and when I opened them up, they were so worth the wait. They're AA grade, authentic gemstones, and you can feel it as soon as you put them on and touch them, pick them up. Each box comes with a card that explains what the gemstone is, what it's for, and also for the zodiac sign and their chakra. So I really like that touch to it because I do astrology and that's what I look at. And if you're going to go to their site to purchase these, please use my discount links. They're in the description and on the screen to save up to 35% off on your purchases. Outer Spirit, I recommend to everybody because they have absolutely beautiful quality and will add a beautiful touch of peace, prosperity, and abundance into your life.
I know probably every month, hey Lauren, we're probably going to say it's been intense. And maybe we should become Bedouin people and go and live in tents somewhere in the jungle or the desert or something like that. But anyway, it's welcome to everyone that is feeling this craziness. It most certainly feels the highest of high and yet the lowest of lows. And Lauren knows that what's going on planet-wise. I know what I'm feeling energetically wise, and as does Lauren. So hence we decided to align and collaborate so we could kind of bring both perspectives of what's going on. So over to you, Lauren. Tell us what have we just come out of? What's this hornet's nest?
Oh boy. So, Mercury just turned direct. It was retrograde for the whole month of November, and it's finally turned direct. But we still have some other planets that are retrograde. Neptune is retrograde, Uranus, Jupiter, and those are the other 4 outer planets that are retrograde. But we're also, this month, I feel, is a month of changing direction, moving towards your life's path's direction. And I say that because there's multiple planets that are in a challenging aspect to the North Node. The North Node is your destined direction of life. It's your life path. It's the path that life is pushing you towards. When you go through the challenges of life, you're like, what's going on? But all those challenges are really squeezing you to get on the right track, the right path.
No,
And
are you kidding me? And oh my God, I'm in awe of what you've just shared because
oh,
I literally, I promise you about that's why and sorry, I didn't even apologize to you about this morning and our meeting that has been delayed, but that's exactly what I was having to, I don't want to say work through, but having to come back into before you and I connected right now.
mhm.
And
Oh,
that's
wow.
just, yeah,
Synchronistic.
seriously. It's like this makes such sense now because it's kind of like I've had to cut off and it's unfortunate or not fortunate or whatever the words are, but um it's letting go of what the feeling is of letting other people down to come back into my
Hmm.
direction.
Right. Yeah. That's a
So I
tough
love
one.
what you've just shared. It's a tough one.
That's a tough one. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the energy of this month. Yeah.
That's incredible. I feel so much lighter now, even the fact that you've shared that, because it just makes sense.
Hmm.
I kind of go, oh, that, because I didn't know why I had to push through this morning. I didn't know the reasoning as to how things were aligning, but I just knew that I've had to have this conversation before I came, for you
Hmm.
and I to do this. So
Wow.
excuse me, incredible. Yeah.
I
Wow.
love that.
Yeah, me too. You see how everything is divinely aligned and
Yep.
orchestrated?
Yep.
Um,
Divine timing.
yeah, divine timing. Yeah, so please continue. Amazing. Sure.
So today's December the 3rd. Tomorrow for United States is December the 4th. And that is the full moon. It is, full moons are culminations. They're ending things that have started in the beginning of the month. And this also ties into the energy of December. I do look at the months going from new moon to new moon, but I feel like these last November and December, the months all kind of like gel together, the energies. It's like it's just pushing us to move to, again, our highest selves. The full moon is in Gemini, and it's opposite to the sun in Sagittarius. So there's air, the moon in Gemini, and the sun in Sagittarius is that fire. It's quick, very quick mental mental confusion, changing your mind 50 times. So
Gotcha.
it's trying to it's trying to take your what's fact or maybe what you do believe and what you believe and what the facts are. It's trying to sort through the BS of things. Maybe, you have to, and it's being flexible to change what you believe based on different facts that you acquire and different facts that change. With Mercury just coming out of retrograde, it takes about 2 weeks for it to get out of its shadow. The shadow is when it moves past the planets that the degrees that it retrograded over. So that was the 29th, I guess about the 13th, 10th or the 13th, it'll be out of its shadow. So during this time, during this new moon, things are coming back into clarity. It's like we're healing from all the chaos that has occurred, from all the what's going on, why am I losing my mind type of energy.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important with this new moon, this full moon, because it's like a culmination of all of that energy. It's like, okay, from all of this, what I just went through in November, what is true, what is not true,
Mm.
and have my beliefs changed towards things. And I think being flexible is a key word here. This month, from now through next year, is a key word because we're coming into some large energies next year. Neptune, Saturn conjunction in Aries, and the energies that are going on this month and January and to February are preparing us for this huge reset, this of change of life, of cycles of life. So with all these planets squaring the North Node, and I know I'm going all over the place,
No,
and I
no,
do
no, it's okay.
apologize
It's
for
okay.
that.
So no, no. I'm just going to ask you to take a little moment because
Yeah.
when you speak of the shadow work, I look at it from the perspective of working through our shadow self. Um,
Mm,
you know, Many therapists would call it the dark night of the soul,
mm,
and it's going and it's digging deep. And that's most certainly what I'm sensing, have been sensing in and seeing, not only with my clients, but the Council of Eight portal, and having to dig deep into what is good for ourselves, what
mm.
feels good for ourselves. And that's why I'm just so in awe of our timing, number one. Now, because if we'd met 2 hours ago, I I would have probably been still antsy about these conversations that I needed to have in order to come into this energy of North Node.
Mhm.
But it's been a deep diving time. And the shadow work, I was saying to my husband yesterday, the shadow work it's tough. it's
Yes, it is.
uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It's like,
Yes.
because there's so much of this non-understanding of, well, yeah, here we are, and but here we are, if that makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
here we are because our spirit is here, our soul is here, but here we are
Hmm.
working and walking this human experience. So you're making sense to me, because it's even in the version of the changes that we're walking into. When you talk about being flexible, there's my brain kind of kicking in and going, all right, how much more flexible do we need to be?
I know.
Which is the
Yeah.
overly analytical, that is judging and going, are you freaking kidding me? And all I know though is that for me, when I'm in my knowing, is that things start, like the information comes to us, like you're gifting
Hmm.
us the information, you're giving me the information of what I needed to know.
Hmm.
Because everything does happen in divine timing, and being flexible is, for me, in our emotions, is being staying in discernment, and doing things that feel good for us. This was basically one of my conversations, 10 minutes before you and I connected, whereas I left a voicemail saying to a gentleman, I'm not feeling good in the project that we're doing, and life is too short not to feel good. You know,
Yeah.
we
100%.
we
Yeah.
we want to show up for humanity, which, my hope is that's what we're doing. But I was like, no, I kept having this kind of like, no, this isn't feeling good for me. And the universe was kind of like bringing dramas into my space to
Hmm.
highlight and go and almost shout and go, are you not seeing this? Are you not hearing
Yeah.
this? The con the I was going to say the conning of like life is like kind of like, well, what do you believe and what don't you believe? That's what's,
Hmm.
like, you got to believe yourself. So
Yes.
to anybody out there
100%.
that's watching this right now, come back into here, come back into who you are. Life
Mm.
can be black and white. It is black and white. In business, it's, I charge a certain rate. Lauren charges a certain rate for her services. That's the black and white of the world. It's what we live in. It's the duality. But the paradox is trying to learn to go with, okay, all right, that's real good. Oh, calm back. And as you know, like when we speak to each other, and you and I are very honest and open, and it's just coming back to our breath.
Yeah.
But doing the
That's
shadow
so
work is
important.
key. It's key to reinventing who we are. It's
Yes.
it's like a dough, and it's like sometimes we want to punch the dough, and other times it's like, oh, let's stretch the dough. you know Sound right? Familiar?
Yes.
So yeah, please continue. You absolutely making sense the way I'm hearing you,
Well,
so thank you.
I'm glad you brought up the shadow work because obviously trying to stay on your path or move towards your path, that involves the shadow work. And there's some other planets that are squaring to Saturn, that are squaring to Neptune. And that is, I would say, it's the inner planets, which is our personal self, squaring to outer planets, which is it's energy that we don't see or feel like so quickly, but it's that Neptune is part of that shadow work that we need to heal, to work deeply, to uncover the illusions that we might have about certain things in life. And with Saturn, it's about coming into the reality, doing things and bringing it into reality in a practical way. Uranus is opposite to Lilith this month. That happens on December the 9th. That is deep, 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 deep shadow work to do. And it's sudden epiphanies of, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I had these unconscious thoughts about this or these unconscious fears that is stopping me from doing what I want to do. It's sudden uncovering, revealing of information about yourself that is almost like you're trapping yourself, holding yourself back, and it's trying to free yourself. But it's uncomfortable energy, so you could around, I would say, what is it? Today's the third, fourth, fifth. I would say starting around the new moon, you could have these uncomfortable thoughts or realizations, and my advice would be is to go with those thoughts and those realizations. Work through them. Don't try to just be like, whatever, I don't need to deal with this now. This is whatever. I just want to put it down and forget about it.
Mm.
No. Deal with it. Uranus is electrifying, so it's a sudden jolt of change. Something can come up into your face and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it, but it's something to deal with and handle and to work through. Again, working towards your path, your life's destiny. It all kind of really coincides with each other, these energies of working towards your destiny, towards your life path, but also digging deep into yourself, your shadow, the unconsciousness of who you are, and working through it to get, I don't want to say over it, but get past it. You got to go through the darkness to get to the lightness.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what we're definitely sensing in these ripples of change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
interesting because I know that some of us have had, and I'm just talking from my clients and what I've seen in the Council of Eight portal is that, we've had these stories of protection come up. I'd had an
Mm-hmm.
incident last week where I felt like I couldn't protect my 15-year-old son, and
Mm-hmm.
it just distorted my field, and it
Mm-hmm.
distorted my heart. It's kind of like as a parent, you go, how can
Yeah.
you can plant seeds, but how can you can't mollycoddle them, you can't keep them in a little ball.
You'd like to, but you can't.
Yeah, we just can't. And our souls and our experiences of our souls already know the experiences that are waiting to unfold.
Mm,
And, it's always that coming back to, alrighty, what feels good for me? So even when you're doing, again, shadow work is horrible. It feels incredibly uncomfortable because you've got all these thoughts. You think you've dealt with that pain or that story, and then it just comes up and it rears its head again. But it's it's good because it comes up until it doesn't come up
mm,
anymore. And having this information is so, I think, important because it just creates discernment and an awareness. It's not to say that things may or may not happen, because when Lauren was sharing that, I kind of thought, as the Cancerian that I am, I'm just going to hide in my shell. I'll find a cave and I'm going to hide on December the ninth,
right.
especially December the ninth. Because we're three Cancerians in this home. And
Oh,
so you
oh
just
boy.
never know what you're going to get. And but then I thought, no, actually face it and feel. Just
Mm,
acknowledge the emotions, acknowledge the feelings, and then find a space of grounding. When you speak about the electrifying, I do feel that today's been one of those electrifying experiences. And then I never know, is it solar flares, is it, it's very connected to the moon. I know that my whole chart is around that. But
mm-hmm.
it's sharing these personal experiences to know, guys, that you're not alone, that we are all feeling and sensing something on some level.
Oh, yeah.
And men are feeling hugely. A lot of my clients that are coming in are just like, "Oof, I don't know if, how do we? Well, we just one step at a time. We're in this together, and we show up for one another as best as we can,
Yeah.
with no judgment, letting go of those old conditions and belief systems that, oh, well, how dare you? It really is just, again, finding the discernment.
Yeah. 100%. Speaking of men, showing and having more emotions come out, uh, Neptune. goes direct on December the 10th, the day after this Uranus Lilith energy. One quick thing that I do want to say is when I say that something's happening on the 9th or the 10th or whatever date, the energy is present. It's like a build up to the energy. So you're not going to just feel it on that one day. You'll feel it probably starting now. You're starting to feel these energies.
Yeah.
But back to the emotions. So Neptune goes direct on the 10th. It's at 29 degrees. That that's huge. It's signifying the ending of a cycle, especially as it's getting ready to move into Aries, into this new, fresh energy that is more about the self, more about who am I, what do I value, what do I want. And I feel like it's almost, and I know Pisces is a water sign and Aries is a fire sign, but I feel like it's like that duality of shifting from this, where men have to be very masculine, not show the feelings. Like it's like we're ending this cycle of what we've known, moving into this new cycle of that it's okay to express yourselves, especially at the 29 degrees. It's like people are feeling that they can release and show their emotions. It's
Mm.
almost like they're being like pushed to show their emotions. Like they can't hide it anymore. Like okay, I've held it. I know some men don't like to cry, but it's like they're being pushed to be like, no, let it out. It's time. We've done all what we've done throughout all these years with this patriarchal thought of, how men, but no, let it out. And it's like there's this squeezing of really letting go of what you knew to allow coming of what you don't know, allow this new energy and this new emotions to flow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love what you're sharing because the what I was sensing when you were saying that was also just how women carry masculine energy, myself included. The
Mm-hmm.
masculine energy is, yes, men, as you're talking about men, because it's the intergenerational trauma that they're
Mm-hmm.
releasing, the
Yep.
intergenerational
Mm-hmm.
stoic energy, suppression,
Yep.
men have to be
Mm-hmm.
men. But women have also carried a lot of that. So when men are releasing what is coming up, the suppression, because it brings, when men suppress, there's a lot of rage that can come up, that protection, going into fight or flight. But then for women, I go into doing, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine. I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. I mean, it was ridiculous. I had a client 2 days ago in person, and I couldn't set up my, I couldn't set up my massage table. And she's sitting, she's going, "Can I help you?" "No, I'm fine." And it kept
I got
cranking
it.
up. I could always do this. Every other time I could do this, but this thing the legs kept conking in. Eventually I said, "Please, I need your help." She goes, "I thought so. I did offer." But like 4 times later, she decided, okay, well, she's got this. But that's the masculine driver that it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine. I've got this. So do you see how
Yep.
it works both ways in both
Yep.
masculine and feminine? Because we carry those elements, we carry those parts of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it is all a learning to release and to receive. There's
Oh,
something in
yeah, that's a
spirituality where
huge
it's,
thing.
yes, about, energy is always in flow, giving and receiving. Well, giving or gifting to ourselves is first and foremost. But when you have loads and loads of beliefs and programmings and the way we've been conditioned, both masculine and feminine, well, we're releasing those one story at a time. Like the learning for me was, okay, she offered help, asked for help. And it was no problem. It was actually no, it was like, there it is. Okay, it was that simple. Instead of almost getting entangled into my therapy bed. But it is, and it can be that simple
Yeah.
as I was going to use the word disgruntled and uncomfortable as what healing is and can be.
Mm.
Once you've released it, you've released it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is the beauty of going deeper within, diving into the shadow, because then your body just releases and you go, oh, I feel lighter. I feel better. Your
Yeah.
hearts are more open to receiving.
Mm-hmm. You feel free of the whatever you're holding on to, you feel like you're free, like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. Life
Yeah.
didn't end because I did whatever I just did. Like you feel like this freedom. And that actually ties into the new moon this month that occurs on the 19th. That's in Sagittarius. Sagittarius has to do with your freedoms, has to do with your philosophies, but wanting to have it's a sense of freedom. Like, you want to be free. You want to help others be free, but you want the freedom to do whatever you want. But like you said, it's going from this full moon to this new moon of releasing all these things, doing the shadow work, being flexible to get on your path to find that sense of freedom as the new moon comes in, starting a
Mm.
new cycle of having released all these things to feel that freedom. And it's not just like I'm free in my country, but that freedom of like your heart, your energy, like, I'm not held down by whatever it is that you feel like you're holding on to for
Yeah.
dear life because it's going to, wreck your life somehow. But it's not. It's just about releasing that old stories that we tell ourselves, or not feeling like you can't express yourself or your voice. But again, working through it from the full moon to the new moon, it's about coming into that sense of feeling lighter, that freedom, that, okay, you know what, I can do this and I can do that. I am free to, say no if, I need to say no. Or, that's a big one. I think that people will learn, myself included, is, the freedom to be like, make the decisions that's good for themselves, not just for everybody because you want to make everybody else happy.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and yes to all of that, because that's where we are learning in our own human selves that everybody's path is different. And we bring players, we bring people into our paths that we think may align, yet sometimes they're not. They might align for that bit, whatever that bit is. It might be a week, it might be 2 weeks, it might be 2 years, and
Hmm.
and then something changes. Because we are changing, we're evolving so quickly. They call it the
Yes.
quickening, and even this whole ascension process. And I felt like there was such a distortion in how many people were like, well, we're ascending, and yes, things are becoming quicker, and the way I think sometimes, or you think, and then all of a sudden we're connected into each other's fields. We're all telepathic without a doubt. But this distortion of, well, okay, now we're going into this new earth, and it's just going to be love and light. And I'm like, really? Do you know us
Aw.
as humans? Like,
I
we
know.
got to keep bumping our heads, and we got to keep, like, we're all going to be sitting around a fire singing Kumbaya like 8 billion people,
Yeah.
So, I mean, would be
I know, like,
nice.
yeah, but we got to be in reality.
Exactly. And I love those words, because what are we creating in our version of our reality? Because it's
Yeah.
not personal.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and that is the I think that's what we can take away from these big corporations. They make, when they're cutting numbers, when they're looking at, like, oh, these people, we don't need them anymore in our environment, they just get rid of people.
Yep.
It's a numbers
Hmm.
game, and it's not ideal. But who knows that when people are made redundant or retrenched, what is their path opening up for something that's different for them? Because some people, as we know, can sit in jobs. I've been there. I'm sure you've been there. Because in friendships, in relationships, because we think that this is the only way.
Yep.
We think
Yep.
that
Hmm.
this is what's the best thing that's happening right now. And in actual fact, it's just what you know there and then. But who knows what opens up? And it's interesting you mentioned the 19th, because there's something around this three-eye atlas that people are talking about. I think that it's either going to be closest to the Earth on the 19th of December.
Yes, it's either the 19th or I think you're correct. I thought it was the 29th, but I think you are correct around, that's the date, the 19th.
I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what I heard at one time. And so
Yeah,
it's
I believe
interesting
that,
when you spoke about the planets and the 19th, and I thought, whew, interesting.
and it's actually very interesting as well because so the 19th is the new moon, the three-eye atlas, and that energy is whatever it is, it's interstellar, it's not from our solar system, so it's bringing in different energies
Yeah,
closest to Earth. So I feel like we're going to feel it. I don't know how we're going to feel it because it is, I think, such just different energy
yeah,
that, but I think it could also shift something in us I don't know, in a unique and special way because it's from interstellar outer space, not part of our energy field. Perhaps it helps to shift something in us that we are even unaware of how it could help shift something inside of us. I think we
mm,
go through the debris field next year. I don't know when next year, but we go through the debris field. But that could also be helping us to find look at life differently, see things from a different perspective, in a sense. Something out of this world, like just have these out of this world thoughts or epiphanies or just things. Like I said, I don't know exactly what Three Eye Atlas is, but the energy of it is different, and I think it could help us to see life from a different way and view.
mm.
Something else that's happening. One of your videos that you put out, I don't remember which one. I think it was the last one that you did. You mentioned something about Pluto, and I did find out that on December the 22nd, the moon will be in an occultation. I think that's how you pronounce it, to Pluto, meaning there's the moon and Pluto. No, here's Pluto and here's the moon, and it will block it from Earth's distance, like an eclipse. And that is deep, 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 deep transformational energy.
Mm.
Really pulling away things from us, from our lives that do not serve us. And I just thought it was interesting that you mentioned that.
Wow.
And with this new moon and Three Eye Atlas, it's like all these energies are aligning in a way to really push us to release what's not helping us anymore. Whether you realize it or you don't, it's really helping us to just get rid of the old, get rid of
Mm,
it, get out of it. It's like an onion, peeling the layers back.
mm.
Maybe you don't know certain things about yourself or realize, going back to that Uranus opposite to Lilith. But this is like on a deeper level. Pluto doesn't play around. Pluto
It
does not play
doesn't.
around.
Well, you've reminded me. I remember being under hypnosis once with, I think it was Lauren or Laura, sorry, Laura Weaver, and I feel like I just got this visual of, like, when you were talking about that now, Pluto just goes, it's like a bow and arrow, and it's just like, right, bring it. And
Mm-hmm.
like that's how I feel the energy, and I get goosebumps as I say it, because it's like bring it time, and
Yeah.
as humans, excuse my language, but there's no more pussyfooting around, and
Yes.
because it is time to bring it. Like, what are we bringing
Mm-hmm.
in our A game? What are we bringing that is going to fulfill us? What are we doing? We all know we're going to die, but how do we choose to live?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the perfection of life, because it actually is perfect in itself. And I always find it quite humbling when people say, oh, we need to save the earth, we need to save the planet. And I think, well, she's been here a lot longer. She's been here a lot longer than us, guys. She doesn't need saving. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Mm. Yes.
Nature knows way beyond anything it's kind of like planting a new tree. And, we think that new tree is, because we know that let's just give an example, like a plum tree, okay? and we're looking so forward to the plums, but then it's swarmed with birds that decides that they want the plums because they're like, well, thanks, you planted the plum tree for me or for us. And we're like, what? And the birds are going, but hang on, we live in harmony together. So why wouldn't
Mm,
you plant that for us? And then you go, actually, yeah, we can share. We actually can share. And it's
right.
the truth, because my analogy is kind of like watching the plums, knowing that there's enough for everybody. And nature
Right.
knows
Yeah.
way before we even know. And that's what's so, I think sometimes we can be blindsided as humans, is that how do we show up? You know, like I was saying early on, sitting around the fire singing Kumbaya, that would be great when we see beyond the fact that we are all different in our colors of skin,
Mm,
when we see beyond the fact that we have different accents, different dialects, when we see beyond the borders, when we see beyond
yeah.
that,
Mm,
nothing else really truly matters except how we show up in the moment for ourselves and then for everybody else that's in our field. You know, it doesn't mean we
right.
have to be unkind. So like kind of the snipping that's been happening for me this morning, I apologized, and yet I've spoken up in what feels good for me. How the other person interprets it or takes it on is none of my business.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
older version of me would be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and want to grapple and gravel and grovel and like, okay, well, what can I do to fix this? What can I do to mend
Yeah.
this? I don't believe that Mother Earth is doing that,
No.
or
No.
Father Sky. It's
Hmm.
it's happening despite, you know, how we show up. It's happening regardless.
Yeah.
And that is the
100%.
tumultuous times, like again, just going back to Pluto, it's like, all right, bring it. How are we bringing what fulfills us? What are
Mhm.
we doing to feel joy, to feel joyful in this very
Yeah.
moment? Because we only have this
100%.
moment. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I think something to add on to that is also letting go of the fear, but fear around like scarcity. Like, you said the kumbaya, but I think it's that a lot of people have a fear around not enough. And that's, that's perfectly I don't say legitimate, but if you don't have enough to eat or you don't have enough money to pay your bills and all this other stuff, of course there's a fear of around scarcity. But I think that that's also like a programmed thing as well because Mother Earth, Nature, Earth is abundant for everybody and everything.
yeah,
And I think, with the Pluto, it's letting go of the fears around the scarcity, around the not enough. And I think that also goes deeper into feeling that you are enough, letting go that of thinking that you're not enough is, I guess, another thing with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we are always enough.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that we're creating so differently. I have, in 18 years of doing work with grief and trauma, and I have, in the last 4 to 5 years, have seen a radical wake up and shake up with so many humans. There's so many modalities that have been out there for a long time, but there's new ones that have been invented, and
Hmm.
um, and it's like anything. Everything is a scientific calculation on some level. But when we come into our hearts, we have that sense of knowing,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
and it's just peaceful. There's nothing in between. It's just the
Hmm.
and I was sharing this with somebody the other day. There's a movie with Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin. There's four of them. I think they were like cheerleaders or something, like 80-year-old cheerleaders or something. And there's one lady that she's in her 90s. She's beautiful. And I wish I've got to find her name, but they were talking about this. I want to say the movie was out kind of 3 or 4 years ago, and this woman I think was one of the first ladies in West End Story, like when the West End Story first came out, like many years ago. I think even before you and I were perhaps born. And she's in her 90s, and she says these are my friends, and I don't have many friends. Yes, she's in Hollywood, so I can imagine that there's a lot of false illusions around being in Hollywood as an actor or actress. But she said, you don't need many people. So when you talk about lack, we actually don't need a lot, Lauren. And I feel
Yeah.
like so many people are wanting more simplicity, because there's so much out there. I don't know about you, but sometimes I get so overwhelmed with
Yes.
try this modality. Oh my God, I've got to work with my vagus nerve. Like you and I were doing it, just grabbing the vagus nerve and just gently pinching up. And we just both took a big breath, and it's how do we keep life simple? Because we sure as know what freaking hell, what life is like and being busy.
Oh
But
my
this
gosh,
woman
yes.
just said, I don't need a lot of people. And I thought, wow, that's a very powerful and humbling thing to say. And at the age of 90, there's clearly wisdom there, especially
Yes.
because she's been in Hollywood, and for such a long time. And she said, I keep to myself a lot of the time. And I thought, wow, how does she do that? And it's a real beautiful realization to go, actually, it's quite nice just being in self.
Yeah. Yeah, it is actually
It
not being
really
out
is.
everywhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my hope is that, more people start to, because I know there's more communities developing, there's more people that are wanting to be part of. What comes to mind actually is Israel and the kibbutzes, the way the kibbutzes used to be run in Israel many, many years ago. And they were communities, and they all went to go eat at certain dining room. People worked in the laundry, people worked in certain parts of the factory, but there was a shop. Everybody just did what had to be done. And some people might be going, yes, Michelle, but that's socialistic. And maybe not, but how can we retweak being part of communities? How can
Yes.
we reinvest in ourselves? Because time is precious, and
Oh, yes.
yeah, so
Yeah.
easy to get caught up in
100%.
what we don't want, hey?
Yes, or what we feel like we have to do versus what we want to do or what would be good for us to do, not feeling like you
Mm.
have to serve everybody else.
Mm.
Mm.
So true.
Yeah.
So true, hey? So my thought was maybe what we do is like come back on the 19th, 20th. I've got my
I think
solstice
that'd be
event
great.
happening on the 21st, 22nd. But
Okay.
maybe we come back and we readdress as to like, let's see if we can handle that energy.
I think that would be good. If you don't hear from me, I wasn't able to. I'm
Yeah,
hiding under a rock.
yeah, I'm done. I'm like, yeah.
I think it would be good to come back before, right before the new moon.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
because
so.
it's like a new set of energies, and I think that right now we're in the energies that we're in, but I think it would be good to, see how we've progressed through these energies and then look at what's coming up in this new set of energies that's coming up. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to share with everyone is that if this helps in any way, you know, I sit on the fence sometimes about with parents who say my children are highly sensitive. And I do sit on the fence because I go, we're all highly sensitive in our own way. Some people might just shut it down due to life, due to not wanting to feel. Sometimes we have this numbness around ourselves, and holding on to our hearts, protecting our hearts. But in this time of sensitivity, because it is a time of sensitivity, and just in the work that I do, the work that Lauren does, that we are sensitive. But if this helps in any way, it's like our bodies are feeling inflamed. Quite a few of my clients are retaining water, and they don't even know why all of a sudden they're retaining water. For me, I I I have this like this there's this energy around my heart, and I feel this heaviness, and I can't kind of figure out what it is or what's going on. But then I might check out what's going on in the world, and then all of a sudden it's the volcano that erupted in Ethiopia, and I shared this the other day, or the riots that are happening. because that is the connectedness of who we are. And you just don't know until you know. But please be consciously aware of projecting that, oh, well, they're sensitive and they're sensitive, especially to our children. Our children that are coming into the world are highly attuned,
Yeah.
incredibly sensitive, and they're so gifted, and they hold us accountable as parents. They mirror things to us that we, no man, and because we think we know better. But I don't know about you. Sometimes I'm like, whew, my mom used to tell me about this. And I'm like, okay, mom, so sorry. My teenager was so harsh. But we're all retuning into a different newness of being. And as you
Yeah.
can hear, the planets are aligning with all of that too. And there is a knowing of what our connection is about. So it's just kind of really filtering, because I think that sometimes we pussyfoot around each other a bit too much nowadays too, as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because to go back to what we were talking about, doing the shadow work, doing the deep diving, and it's
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable once again, but it's easier to make it about the child,
Yeah.
and I grew up in an environment where manners were important, and I'm like, when did the world forget about manners? you know, like, sorry, they can't greet you right now because they're involved in their food. Okay, alrighty, I don't know what to do with that. Not that I'm important, guys, but I am sometimes. So there's a lot of energy happening right now, as you can sense and see. I drive Lauren mad, I think.
It's the full moon. It's
It's the
definitely
full
the
moon.
full moon.
It's the full moon, and that is for sure. Like, I feel it a week before it even happens, and my
Mm,
energy spikes, and there's these highs and lows. And thank you for bringing me into that and back, because there's
yeah.
so many conversations that we can discuss around what the energy is showing us. There's so much that it's just, again, coming back in, because there is so much that is non-aligning, not aligning, is
Hmm.
aligning. Who are you?
Yeah.
And again, by doing the shadow work, you start to discover, like, I'm okay to discuss these things because they're uncomfortable topics. They are.
They
And
are.
okay, let's talk about this. Because a lot of people are like, no, it's easier not wanting to talk about these uncomfortable topics.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm alone in what I'm sharing right now.
And I
Um,
think it's helpful for people to know that, especially if they're, starting to go through some things in their lives, maybe going through the shadow work, but they don't know that they're going through shadow work, and they're like, "What is going on?" And to hear, you speaking about it, it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who feels like my life is turned upside down, inside out, and I'm falling apart," or something
yeah,
to that extent.
yeah. Well, there's a beautiful saying, this too shall pass,
Oh yeah.
and we come through it
That is a
by
good saying.
some beautiful divine intervention. We come through it, and
Hmm.
um, and that's the beauty and the resilience of being human.
Yeah.
We come
It
through
is.
no matter what, and you and I have stood the test of time in some way or other. So, is there anything you want to finish off with, Lauren?
I think that's it. Yeah, I think be flexible this month. From now, especially to this new moon, be flexible. If things come up, look at it as, what am I learning from this? What do I need to learn from this? And I think that is one of the best ways to move through some of these challenging, chaotic at times energies.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you to everybody for being here, and thank you to everybody on Lauren's channel as well. And we look forward to keep doing. I kind of go, wow, it took us a long time to get here. Like, this is just such delightful, informative information,
Hmm.
because we bring in the human aspect and we bring in the planets, and
Hmm.
and um, It's pretty awesome. So thank you, Lauren. And thank you to
Thank
everybody.
you.
And we'll see you when we see you. Have a great day wherever you are in the world. And just be flexible. But remember to come back into your hearts because we all know
Definitely.
that love is why we are here. The relearning of it. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Lauren.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.